Congratulations, you're dead. Hello there, and welcome to episode 6 of Congratulations, You're Dead. In this episode, we pick up where we left off with our conversation with Matt. We get through the rest of the questions and also get into some touching subjects. But yeah, I hope you had a wonderful holiday, Christmas, or whatever it is that you celebrate, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Thank you for listening. Okay, so what's a film that means something special to you? Either you watched it with a partner, or like, you watched it and something amazing happened, or just something that really kind of you think about fondly?
That movie would be Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, nice.
So I remember first watching that back home in New Zealand. I think my dad was watching it. It was on, like, it already had been come onto television at the time. So Dusk Till Dawn came out in 1996. So it must have been like 98 or something by the time it got onto, like, network television.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him saying, "Oh, you probably like," because obviously the way the movie starts, you don't, it's not too full on. Like, obviously there's that murder scene at the hotel, but you really don't know it's going to descend into what it descends into. Mm-hmm. If you've not watched it, I mean, I don't want to spoil it because, like, it's actually still a movie a lot of people haven't seen, which is surprising to me. Mm. Yeah, like that movie, that's Robert Rodriguez's directorial debut. Everyone says it's a Tarantino film. Yes, he wrote it, but he didn't direct.
Yeah, Robert Rodriguez. It was after. Was it after? It was after El Mariachi, because that was his first one, and then he had Desperado.
And then Desperado. Fantastic.
I don't know if it was before he did that, before or after Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Once Upon a Time in Mexico was the last in the series.
Yeah, but Dusk Till Dawn was before that. Did he do that before?
Yeah, it was. Definitely was. Yeah, because Desperado came out around a similar time to Dusk Till Dawn. And everything about that film, like George Clooney, absolute badass. The first time you ever really saw a dude, he had that sick tribal tattoo that went up his neck and all the way down his arm, and the way that he spoke and how calm he was. Seth Gecko, Quentin Tarantino being mental. And then,
which is a stretch for him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's that scene with Salma Hayek where she puts his foot in his mouth, and you know that he's loving it, dude.
Oh, yeah, he's a foot dude.
I mean, there's also that scene in Death Proof where the chick is hanging her leg out the window, and when
they hit the car and the fucking leg goes flying.
Yeah, she has her foot off. Like, that's so Quentin, dude. He loves it.
Yeah, he loves it. And was it Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Is that the film that he last did? How many bloody feet were in that film? Every shot had a foot in it, I reckon.
Oh, I haven't seen it. I need to watch it.
Oh, yeah. That was his thing. I think his thing was trying to put as many, like, naked feet he could into the movie. He's a freak.
Wild, dude. And the funny part about, like, Robert Rodriguez is that, like, he created some of these movies that I adore, and then he went on to create the El Rey network. And then they then had professional wrestling on it, and he had a big part in Lucha Underground and sort of the vision and the grunginess. I mean, it looked like the Mayan temple from Dusk Till Dawn,
Yeah. Well, Lucha Underground is probably some of the best wrestling I've ever seen, I reckon.
And the reason why I love Dusk Till Dawn so much and why I try and get people to watch it is because it completely subverts expectations. And you're gonna feel one way or another about it. You're either gonna think the movie gets better, or you're gonna be upset that the storyline does a complete 180 in the middle.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
And obviously other actors in it. Harvey Keitel, incredible. A young Julianne? I can't remember the surname, but she plays the daughter in it.
I can't remember her either.
Danny Trejo, fantastic, character actor, badass.
I love Danny Trejo,
dude.
He's so
how do
cool.
you not? How can you not? And plus they've got Cheech Marin plays like 5 characters in it.
Yeah. Why not?
He plays a border patrol agent at the beginning. He plays like the hype man outside of the bar.
He does too. Yeah,
and he's also the drug dealer at the end that comes. It's just so good. I love it, dude. I love that film so much.
I'm going to watch it again. It's been too long.
It's really, really good. And obviously, I don't know if you know, there is a Dusk Till Dawn 2 and 3. Don't waste your time. They're absolutely horrendous.
Oh, really? Is it done by Robert Rodriguez, or is it just like...
No, I think it sort of got snapped up by studios at that point.
Yeah, fair enough.
And like the beauty of Dust Till Dawn, and very few films are like this, is that it's a complete film in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to watch anything before. You don't need to watch anything after.
Yeah.
The film is what it is. You get the whole story. You get the ending, and then it all gets explained in one big wide panning shot at the end, and you go, "Oh, holy fuck! It makes now we know, right?"
Yeah. There's no explanation needed after.
And obviously, it had some cult popularity, and then guys went on like iconic films like what am I thinking of? The other Tarantino films. Reservoir Dogs, Death Proof, Machete, all of those that sort of came after the fact.
Yeah.
It was born out of that stuff. And the best part about Dust Till Dawn, have you seen the documentary Electric Boogaloo?
No.
So there's a movie called Electric Boogaloo, and they filmed a documentary as they were filming Dust Till Dawn.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so Electric Boogaloo was showing all of that stuff as they were doing it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I gotta watch that. I might have to do a back-to-back.
Totally recommend it.
All right. And is that special to you because you watched it with your old man?
Yeah, and I think like as a kid, like it was probably the first sort of movie where I'd sort of seen any of that real like type of gore stuff, or at least what was sort of gory. Like I think it would have been an M13 or something, probably with the level of nudity and gore that was in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you could make something like that and call it an M13 today.
No, I don't think you could. I think it'd have to be raised up to probably R or something. I mean, Deadpool's R, and it's. I think Dust Till Dawn.
There's no nudity. There's no nudity.
There's not a single boob in the whole thing.
Yeah, that's it. What a shame. I would say that, and like that for me was when I first sort of fell in love with that Tarantino style, and all of the movies that came after. What's the other one I'm thinking of? Bruce Willis, Watch Up His Ass.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction.
That's the one.
Pulp Fiction. How can you not like?
I actually didn't like Pulp Fiction when I first watched it, and then I watched it again, knowing that it's not in order and shit, and I loved it. So the first time it just messed with my head.
Yeah, I enjoy movies like that. What was Pulp Fiction was like 5 stories simultaneously happening, and they all intersect at different points. Memento is another one. The whole movie's essentially put in reverse.
Yeah, which is nice.
The Machinist, American Psycho. Like you don't even know if he's actually been murdering people the entire time, or if it was just a massive hallucination. Like, yeah, those kinds of movies I really enjoy.
Yeah, so you like the movies where you got to like think about things. Like you go like
or at least the movie where when you watch it, like the benefit of wrestling is storytelling essentially, right?
I agree with that.
And there are really simple things to telling a good story. Every story has a beginning, middle, and end. And if you're a good storyteller, you know how to do foreshadowing. So I can see, for the most part, like I'm pretty accurate in my predictions of what's going to happen in a movie, because I'll be like, oh, well, there's a reason they zoomed in on that, or there's a reason why that piece of dialogue lingered. These things are going to come back around. Sure enough, that they do, and that's what a good story should have, that because it's rewarding the audience for paying attention. People get upset when a twist comes out of nowhere because it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. There was nothing like The Happening, like, oh yeah, trees are killing us. That sucks. That movie is so bad. Oh man. And obviously M. Night Shyamalan had an absolute like blaster in Sixth Sense, but then everything else after it was bad. I haven't seen the most recent one, the one where the kids go and stay
in the beach.
No, not that one. No, the one where the kids stay with that elderly couple, like grandpa and granddad that they've never met.
I've never heard
and they
that
turn
one.
it to be a bit. I think the twist is actually that, like, you think it's something supernatural, but it turns out that the parents actually just have like dementia.
Oh fuck!
And so like that, because I'll see the grandma getting up at 2 a.m. in the morning doing weird stuff, and they don't know what's going on. But like, crap twist.
I watched what's the movie he made? Glass, the one with you know how it's got that three. It's the one with Bruce Willis, and the other one with
So it's Unbreakable, Unbreakable, Split, and then Glass.
That's right. I watched Split. Split was good.
Yeah, I love James
Split's real
McAvoy.
good.
So,
Yeah. Oh, he kills it in it.
yeah,
His acting is extreme. But I haven't seen the other ones, and I've heard the last one isn't as good as the rest of them.
Unbreakable's really good. And
Yeah.
obviously, the thing with Unbreakable is Unbreakable came out like a decade earlier.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And for a long time, it was just standalone, not unlike sort of Star Wars was before they did the trilogy.
Mm,
And so it had to be sort of in one piece. And
mm.
then they bring Split in, and then they bring in Glass to sort of tie everything off.
So yeah,
I,
yeah.
I need to do that too. I need to watch those three. I've not seen Split. I've not seen Glass.
Mm.
I do remember Unbreakable, but I would like to watch it again.
Yeah, I think you should you need to watch them in the trilogy, I feel. Mm.
And I think the best part about those films, and like I was thinking about this last night, obviously, like we live in terms of the movies and TV shows that we watch, like we've gone so far into that fantastical world of like, multiverses and aliens and superpowers, and like so much of the media we consume nowadays has that stuff in it.
Mm.
I enjoy when things are brought back down to like a ground level.
Sometimes you need that movie that just kind of you remember, like it's just a real life kind of movie or something along those lines. I feel like.
Yeah, and obviously the sort of thing about Unbreakable and Mr. Glass and Split is these three guys do have powers, but they're intrinsically tied to one another. But they don't live in a superpowered world where they're surrounded by superpowered people. It's about I've got something else someone doesn't have, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know how to cope with these things and how it applies in the real world. Like, I enjoy that.
Yeah. What's one film you never finished but always wanted to?
One film I never finished but always wanted to. God, that's tough because I'm not one for like switching off movies in the middle. Okay. And like if I'm engaged in it, I'm gonna put my time in to watch it to the end, even if it's late, because I'm invested. Gosh, let me think. Actually, no, I remember what it was, and I went back and watched it because I felt like I had to. Okay. It was the first Suicide Squad.
Oh, fair enough.
Because the first Suicide Squad. No, because you know what it was like the thing that I enjoy the most, especially in superhero movies. I love the origin story.
Oh yeah.
So the very first the very first Spider-Man, like Willem Dafoe, I'm something of a scientist myself. Tobey Maguire, like the first Spider-Man film is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you look at it now and it's quite dated, but you can't knock it for what it was. The first Iron Man film, like obviously it started a chain reaction,
Oh yeah.
And I mean, when we talk about movies again, like wrestling, Iron Man 2 was pretty average, Spider-Man 2 was pretty average, but that's because you have the origin, and what do you do next? Well, you have to show some kind of character development. You have to show some kind of obstacle to overcome that they haven't faced before. And then the third one, maybe eventually the third one comes around full circle again. Even Iron Man 3, honestly, Iron Man 2 and 3, you can get by without watching
them. I agree, yeah. Iron Man 2, I think, is my least favorite of the whole Marvel. I don't know, the whole Marvel universe so far.
Yeah, that's fair. I'd probably put I like the original Ant-Man, but Ant-Man 2 was a bit meh.
Yeah, I think so.
I did like the stuff where obviously they go into they find Michelle Pfeiffer, hiding with the microorganisms or whatever. The original, like Aquaman, incredible. Aquaman's actually super underrated, I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I need to.
What, dude? You need to. And the best part about Aquaman is it's super easy to consume because every act is essentially like displayed on the screen, because the whole thing about Aquaman is there's different tribes of different societies that live in different parts of the water around the world, and he has to go to each of them to speak to them. Okay. So every act is like, here's the bit where he's speaking to these people, here's the bit where he's speaking to these people, here's the bit where he speaks to these people. And they try, obviously, like the DC universe hasn't been able to match what Marvel's done.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite things to talk about, and this is what I talk about when I teach wrestling. you need to have characters, right? But you can't just have one.
Mm-hmm.
And I use Friends, the television show Friends, as an example,
Okay.
right? You have 6 individuals, and you can identify each individual by their own traits,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're all unique.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part about having one, that many characters, and two, everybody being unique,
Mm-hmm.
is it becomes relatable, because you can all of a sudden, oh, that person's like Monica, oh, that person's like Chandler, oh,
Mm.
I'm like Joey,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the things about a character that people relate to aren't the positive traits.
That's
You
true.
relate to a character with the negative traits.
Mm.
That's what makes it relatable.
Mm-hmm.
Not, you don't relate to someone's strengths, you relate to someone's flaws.
That's a fair
And
point.
so then Avengers comes along and they do the same formula.
Mm-hmm.
They have 6, 7, 8 different individuals. They've all been through their own traumas. They've all got their own hang-ups and issues and whatever, trust, whatever you may be, and everybody can relate to an individual.
Mm.
And then DC, tried to sort of copy that formula, and then they sort of took the Thor model and tried to superimpose that onto Aquaman. And it didn't really take,
Mm-hmm.
because, Jason Momoa sadly doesn't have the same sort of acting chops that Chris Hemsworth does, and he can't carry the scenes in the way that Hemsworth does, in a sort of goofy way that he does it.
Mm.
But I mean, Aquaman's really good. Definitely recommend the watch. Amber Heard's a cunt, but it's a good film.
Yeah, I hope she's not in the second one.
Apparently, they're replacing her with Emilia Clarke, and I love that girl.
Oh,
so
that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they work really well together, obviously, from Game of Thrones and stuff.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Incredible, of course.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't believe I completely forgot that Momoa was Khal Drogo. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And apparently whenever they like he's in England or whatever, they always hang out and shit. So it's like they'll have more of a chemistry than him and that.
Oh man, I adore Emilia Clarke, and like, you know what it was? It was every time that she smiled that smile, I was like, all right, I love you. Like, I can't, how can I not? Like, even all the times where she's being, like, when she devolves into, Daenerys, the Mad Queen, it's that smile. It's so wide. There's a little shrink of the nose and the eyes close up.
Yeah.
It's the cutest thing, dude. So, yeah. I'm a big fan of Emilia Clarke, big fan of the chick who plays Jyn Erso as well.
What's her name? No, it's not January Jones. That's not her. I can't remember her name.
Yeah, the British actress.
Yeah, the one.
Picture her. Yeah.
Yeah, she played Jyn Erso, which was Rogue One was fantastic.
Right. Yeah. Oh no, sorry. Am I thinking of the wrong? I'm thinking. No. I was thinking of. Sorry, Rogue One is great, by the way. I was actually thinking of the actual the new Skywalker chick. What's her name?
Ray. Well, I guess Ray Skywalker.
Yeah, Ray is the one. Ray is.
What's her name? Daisy Ridley.
Yeah, Daisy Ridley's great. Yep.
Yeah, she's good.
Oh man, let's talk about Rogue One for a second. Amazing. Like, when was we haven't seen a standalone Star Wars story ever. Everything's always, drawn out and long and a series of stuff. And then Rogue One comes along, and, Donnie Yen, incredible. Just like, and obviously, like, I'm a bit biased and I can be a bit like negative. Like, obviously, with the way that movies are, you see so much Chinese influence because, there's a lot of Chinese money coming in and the Chinese market is huge. So we're seeing, and I feel bad because now we get so much more Asian representation, but it feels like it's only because of the money, not because they're being recognized as talented actors.
Yeah.
But in saying that, obviously, have you watched Shang-Chi yet?
No, I really want to.
Incredible. Really, really good. And the whole film, like, there's barely a white actor in it, which is great. Like, it should be completely Asian or completely Asian American,
Yeah, agreed.
And they bring, like, Michelle Yeoh is in it. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, incredible Chinese actress. And obviously Benedict Wong from starting it, with Doctor Strange. Yeah. So, like, I'm really happy to see as someone who's, half Asian, to see these Asian actors getting these opportunities, being in these roles. And again, like I don't know if you've seen, there's like a ton of stuff that comes out that's Chinese produced that absolutely sucks. Like Great Wall, I think, was a good example of how
Is that the one
bad
with
they
Matt Damon?
yeah, Matt Damon and the classical like white savior comes along
Yeah.
sort of thing. But like they've done one of my favorite recent films is what's it called? I think it's called Locked Up or Locked. It's the one with Sylvester Stallone and Arnold
Oh,
Schwarzenegger.
and they're in a prison and they have to like figure out how to get out
Yeah,
or something.
and
Yeah.
the reason I love it is because like it's nostalgic for the movies that I watched growing up. You know, um, the thing about I think they're starting to come back to it. Like, there's not a lot of CGI. Like the stunts are performed by stuntmen. The effects in there are physical effects. You know, and there's a lot to be said. There's still a real place in movies for physical special effects.
I agree. Yeah, definitely.
And,
I think
it's so underrated. You know, people like there was that period through the 2000s where they just wanted to CGI everything.
I mean, just look at
Like,
Avatar and shit like that.
yeah, or like the Scorpion King where they put the Rock's head on like an animated scorpion.
I think that was in The Mummy actually where they did that, and then he did the Scorpion
it was the
King.
second.
Yeah.
It was the second Mummy. It was like Mummy 2.
That was so bad. I remember they did a deep fake of the actual Rock's head on the thing, and they couldn't even make that look good. That's how bad that CGI was. Like it was.
Yeah. And I mean, you can still go back and watch the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and there's that opening scene where he rips the girl's head off and you just see a skull. Like that's physical effects, but it still grosses you out.
Oh yeah.
Or the scene where Johnny Depp gets sucked into his bed and a whole like liters of blood start pouring out. Yeah. Oh my god. And like, you know how they filmed that scene?
No.
So like if you look at the way the blood flows, right? What they did is they built the entire set on a ceiling.
Oh really?
So the bed, everything is glued to the ceiling, and all they do is just pour it out, and gravity does the work.
Wow, that's amazing. I did not know that. I thought they shot it out from like pipes and stuff.
No. They just put everything on the ceiling and then let it do its thing. And that's why if you watch it, you'll see the way the blood falls and the way the blood spreads across the ceiling. It's just gravity, dude. Like that to me is filmmaking, you know?
That's so cool. Yeah, CGI is like, I get it's cheaper in the long run, but it's just taken so much soul out of the medium.
And they've gotten much better at it. Obviously, you know, they have like one really, really good example is from the Lord of the Rings films, Smeagol, and the guy that plays Smeagol. I can't remember
Andy Serkis.
Dude. Thank you. Yeah,
I just know because I'm listening to The Hobbit on Audible, and he's the narrator.
and he's now started to have a few things too, because he was in Black Panther. He directed Venom: Let There Be Carnage.
He did too, and he directed part of The Hobbit as well. Oh, he was like the assist, like the B crew director. Like he did all the B roll stuff. So yeah, he's really talented. I really think he's great.
Yeah. And his him playing Ulysses Claw and his like South African accent, it was on point, dude.
Yeah,
and a South African accent is fucking hard.
Well, he's good at the whole, like he's, like I said, he's doing the narration for, because you know you always hear him being like Caesar from Planet of the Apes, or his, you know, Gollum and Smeagol, but his range is crazy.
Agreed. Yeah, Andy Serkis, super underrated.
Oh yeah. What's the worst film you've ever seen?
Christmas with the Cranks.
Is that's Tim Allen?
It is Tim Allen.
Yeah. Is it Jamie Lee Curtis? No, it's not.
It might be. It could be one of those sort of actors. Yeah. Oh my god. Like, and I get it. I get it, because you know you get to that point in your career where you're just taking whatever comes across your desk.
Pretty,
you know, like, yeah, but I mean, like, dude, you were Santa Claus, bro. Like, you can't do another Christmas film and ruin it for us, you know. Like, and obviously the Santa Claus was what it was. Like, but they were great for the time. But I mean, Christmas with the Cranks, horrendous stuff. Like, and I mean, there are movies that I thought would be bad and they weren't. Like, I don't know if you've watched any of the newer Adam Sandler stuff. You know how he got that contract with Netflix, and now he's sort of pumping out stuff on Netflix.
Yeah, I really love the Adam Sandler and Netflix stuff.
So, like murder mystery.
Oh, that's so good.
It's
It's
great.
ridiculous.
That's actually fantastic.
Have you?
Like, there's nothing wrong with that movie, and everyone's
No,
like, "Oh, stuff now, his newer stuff's bad." Like, no, dude. Like,
it's actually
that
good.
is that is classic Sandler. That is, that throws me back to Waterboy. Throws me back to Happy Madison. Throws me back to sorry, Billy Madison. Happy Girl.
Happy Girl. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Have you seen the movie
Wedding
Halloween?
No, everyone says that's really bad though.
I fucking love it. I think it's amazing.
love
It's
All right,
become
I'll
like a
watch it.
Halloween movie for me now. I mean, it's only been 2 years, but I'll watch it every Halloween from now until I die, I reckon.
Well, I mean,
It's so fucking stupid, but it's so good.
I don't have like Halloween movies. I should though. I'd probably put like Cabin in the Woods on that list.
Oh, great movie.
But I do have Christmas movies, and my Christmas movies are like Die Hard, because it's a Christmas movie. You can't tell me it's not.
Oh, I won't. You won't hear that from me.
And Die Hard 2 is as well, so you can watch
Okay.
both. So yeah, Die Hard 2, fantastic Christmas movies. Behind Enemy Lines, believe it or not, is a Christmas movie
Okay.
because that was set on December 25th. But my favorite is Jingle All the Way.
Oh, great movie. Fucking
Oh my god,
fantastic movie.
Oh yeah, absolute chef's kiss. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger in a comedy role,
Trying to get a fucking robot for his son, like
Sinbad. Like, when was the last time you saw Sinbad in a movie, dude?
yeah, fuck.
So
Wasn't
like,
he in Shazam or Kazam? No, that was Shaq.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's one of those Nelson Mandela effect things where everyone's like, I was sure he was in a movie where he was a genie, and they're like, no, he never was. Like,
I love diving into those Mandela effect things, but that's a different story for a different time. But they're ridiculous.
The other part of that film, rest in peace, Phil Hartman.
Yeah,
like I adore Phil Hartman. Like, and that was the last movie that he did before he passed. And he's so good. Like, that he's the bad guy. That he's a prick, but he's smiling and he's so happy the entire time. You just want to punch the dude in the face. And obviously, like, the other side of Phil is that he played my favorite characters in The Simpsons. So Phil Hartman was Lionel Hutz. Phil Hartman was Lyle Langley, the monorail guy. He was also the bear. He was Troy McClure, dude.
Yeah, because
adore Troy McClure. If we talk about Simpsons real quick, my favorite episode is A Fish Called Selma. A fantastic episode. That's the one where Troy McClure gets with Selma, and then at the end it's the Planet of the Apes musical. That whole thing.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Far out. I'm getting glimpses of it in my head because it's been forever. But geez,
so it's that episode and the monorail episode, and both of those episodes are
the monorail episode is fucking great.
Yeah. But like the central point of all of those like episodes is a Phil Hartman musical piece.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, if that doesn't speak to his level of ability and talent, I don't know what does. Yeah.
Every now and then I'll be walking around and just going, monorail.
Is there a chance the track could bend? Not on your life, my Hindu friend. Just great, dude.
It's so good.
I've been to Brockway, Ogdenville, and North Haverbrook, and by God, it put them on the map. It's iconic, dude.
Yeah. So on the flip side of that, what's your most favorite film you've ever seen?
So like, I have a ton, but like one that's probably a little bit out of left field, Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh, great movie.
Right? I remember the first time I watched it, and there's male nudity in the first minute.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And it's the guy from How I Met Your Mother. Like, what the fuck?
And I'm like, what am I even watching right now? but like, I mean, that was introduced the world to Russell Brand.
Yeah,
it was the first ever time I thought Mila Kunis was attractive. I was never into her before.
Yeah,
I didn't think she was hot in that 70s show or anything.
No. I always thought Kristen Bell was fucking hot though.
Kristen Bell's the best. Bell's the best. So like, the reason I love Forgetting Sarah Marshall so much is because like it showed, like, it's not your typical romantic comedy, right? Because how does it start? It starts with a breakup.
Yeah, exactly.
it doesn't start with, the chance meeting of this person, whatever. I see the pass on the street, and then whatever circumstances come around for us to meet. No, it starts bad. And then obviously there's that scene with him and what's the guy's name? Saturday Night Live, John.
I can't remember.
Oh, man. You forget that he's in it, and now he's gone on to do a lot more stuff. I'll text you the name afterwards. You go, oh yeah, that's right,
yeah.
isn't it? He plays he plays his brother-in-law.
I can't remember.
Yeah, no.
All I remember is the four, like Russell Brand. What's the main dude's name? The guy from How I Met Your Mother, whatever his name is. Marshall from How I Met Your Mother. I don't know his name. Mila Kunis and Kristen Bell. That's all I remember.
Hold on. Bill Hader.
Bill Hader.
Bill Hader is like, you forget he's there, but it's that scene where in the kitchen they're arguing about you don't love my sister. He's like, I will stab you. Like I will.
I think all I remember is like that he's just standing there naked. That's all I remember.
And I mean, like what a great way to shock the audience. Yeah. And the cool thing about it too was like at the end of the movie, they're not even together at the end of the movie. Him and Mila Kunis.
Aren't they? Because I know he does that rock opera thing.
He does the rock opera, and she shows up. And she agrees to like go on a date with him, but like they're not like exactly. In every other romantic comedy, they're together at the end. So yeah, I think really great film, really hilarious. Oh, Paul Rudd's in it, dude.
Oh, you must be from London. I quote that all the time. Whenever someone mentions London, I'm like,
they call me Kunu. Oh, what does Kunu mean? Oh, I put my name into Hawaiian name generator.
Great stuff. I remember. Have you seen Get Him to the Greek?
Yes.
And when like the only throwaway thing, like he's in like Russell Brand's on the plane, and there's like a little clip that comes up with like Kristen Bell, and she's like the blind doctor or whatever, because that's the show she was going to do. He's like, oh, I used to date her, or I used to fuck her, or something like that. He says, it's like, I don't like that little...
they sort of kept the universe going, right? Because that was like the job offer that she got, like the last job offer she sort of got before she, when she was like, I want to go into movies, and her TV show got cancelled, and then she was like, you have to play a blind doctor on a network television show.
Yeah, because that was, I think it was a continuation, because it was the same Russell Brand character. And they just called Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill, yeah, of course. Jonah Hill was in, Forgetting Sarah Marshall too. God, really,
I
really
watch that movie again. It's been too long.
Yeah.
Do you? So you're, death is showing you around your own life. You're getting on now. You're kind of near the end, and he just asked you, "What do you believe in alternate universes, or what do you think about alternate universes?"
So again, in the same way, when we talk about energy, and we talk about it can't be destroyed, can't be created, goes from one form to another. I do believe in multiverses, in the sense that every single time you make a decision, it diverges, right? And so from the moment your life starts, you think of it like a tree. It just blows out into this huge branch. And you think about, like, it doesn't just happen in key moments. It happens this morning when I decided to open my laptop and talk to you. It'll happen when I, decide to go to sleep, like all of these things. And oftentimes I will wonder, like I'll think back, and I'm quite a reflective person, and I try to be, I'm a big picture person. And so I think about the things, and I think about decisions I've made in my life, or times when I've had, I've been at a crossroads, do I do this? Do I do that? And it's easy to look back on those things and think, man, maybe if I'd done this or done that, I'd be here. But at the same time, if you had done that, you wouldn't be where you are now. You wouldn't have done the things that you've done now, or the things that, those decisions led to. So, I do believe in that. I don't believe that there's, a million copies of me coexisting in these spaces, but I think that's kind of the point. Like, when it talks about a multiverse, kind of like, because science is sort of saying that that's a thing, but what they talk about it more in like frequencies that exist and things like that, as opposed to, the sort of fantastical Marvel version where there's a million Earths and all these versions of you that exist. But yeah, I do believe in the sense of a multiverse exists, in that, you know, when you make those decisions, you know, and the impact that those things have. And, you know, there are somewhere, you know, there's a version of you that didn't do that, or there's a version of you that did do that. And when I think about that, like, I think back, for example, like a really simple one is like my first partner, you know, my first girlfriend in my early 20s. And I think to myself, you know, what if we had stayed together? What would my life have looked like? What would I have looked like? What would that have meant? Would I have done the things I've done? When I left New Zealand, when I left Australia, when I left England, these kind of big moments, I'm thinking, well, if you'd stayed, you would have had this. Yeah, but because you left, you got that. So that's really how I tend to think of it, and I use it as a tool for reflection.
Okay, so you go to an alternate universe. The Grim Reaper takes you there. You run into one of your alternate universe versions of yourself. What would you like to see from that version? Like, how would you like to see their life progressing, or anything about them?
I mean, that's a bit cheesy. There's not a lot of, I don't have a lot of regrets in life, because I've always tried to live in the present, tried to make decisions that I'm proud of, decisions that I don't look back on and go, you know, like, if I knew what I know now, I wouldn't have done that. But a few years ago, like, I had a partner, and she was here in Australia, and then she had to move back to Ireland. And a lot of times I reminisce and I wonder, you know, well, what if I, you know, packed up shop, moved to Ireland? What would my life look like?
Was that on the cards at the time? Because I remember her, and I remember you two being together. We watched the Super Bowl at your house that year.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that on the cards, you going, or was that kind of never mentioned? If you don't mind bringing it up or talking about it.
No, yeah, I don't mind talking about it. It's probably therapeutic. It wasn't discussed. We didn't, you know, I think we felt like it, but we didn't really talk about it. And actually, I put that on me. Like, I should have asked the question, because I think I just kind of assumed the answer would be no. And then, you know, we still stay in touch, and we talked about it a few months later, and she would have said, yeah, like, I would have been up for that, you know. Yeah. And so, you know, I think back on that and I go, wow, did I fuck up? But at the time, like, my mindset was like, things were going really well for me in Australia. I had a good job. I was champion of like 4 or 5 companies at the time.
Yeah.
But again, in hindsight, like, does that stuff mean anything? I mean, not really. Like, you can always, you can drop it, all of that, if you need to, if you want to. But then I think, you know, would I have had the opportunities that I've had? You know, since then I've gone to Japan. Since then I've, you know, had WWE tryouts, all of these things. Like, and obviously what I can't see is, I can't see the opportunities I would have had I gone there. I can't, you know, think, oh yeah, I might have done this, I might have done that. I think she would have been the only person I would have wanted to have a family with.
Okay.
Because kids aren't really my thing. I'm not really interested in having kids, but I could have seen myself having kids for her, and also knowing that she would have made an excellent mom. She will make an excellent mom, because that's going to be, you know, the next step in her life. So yeah, if anything, if I was ever going to go anywhere, I'd probably go to that moment and, you know, look at the alternate version of me that was like, nah, fuck it, like, I'm going to move to the other side of the world and give it a go, you know, and see if it would have worked out. Obviously, you know, there's no guarantees, and you know, there's no guarantee that had I gone over, we would have stayed together in a number of things. And I'm sure you know plenty of people that have moved across the world for partners and things have gone sour. So yeah.
Would you, like, I don't know where you are now, if you're in a relationship or anything, but do you think, given the chance, you'd go and surprise her, or like, would you be in that headspace to one day be like, fuck it, I'm going to go and see where it goes? Or would you just leave in the past?
I used to think like that. She is seeing someone at the moment, and I'm not. But
let's get him. No.
But the thing is, I think there's a real level of you know, rose tinted glasses when you look back at it, and it worked well because it existed in that time, and we were that age. we felt the way we did about certain things,
Mm-hmm.
and like to think that we could pick that back up,
Mm.
years later. Let's say she was in a position, she was single, I was single, I decided to go over there and do that. But the fact is, we will have changed heaps. Both of us
Yeah.
will have.
Oh yeah,
You
for
know.
sure. Yeah, that's a fair
So
point.
yeah, and so I don't want. And it almost feels selfish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because here's me coming to you. Like you've moved on,
Mm.
you've created a life for yourself, and
Mm.
here I am saying I want you to be how you were 10 years ago.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
Because that was who I was in love with. I don't know what she's like now. I'm sure. I mean, I say that I don't think she's an asshole, not at all. Like nothing like that. But
Yeah.
everybody grows and everybody changes, and the things that they want out of life, the things that they expect out of a partner, all of these things change.
That's a fair
So
point.
so yeah, as romantic as it is, in the rom-com sense, meeting up in the middle of Ireland and then getting
Running into each
together again.
other.
Yeah, like no time's ever changed. Like
Yeah.
I'm far too cynical for
That's
that.
fair. Because I know some people. The reason I asked is I know someone who did that. Like they went and chased, like 5-10 years later, chased their partner that they were still in love with, and I think it lasted a month. And he was like, "I don't know who you are," and he just came back home. I was like, "Fuck,
That's
that's
tough.
nuts." Yeah.
But to see that, that it does happen. Like, what was her thoughts on it? Like,
Oh, I don't know. We didn't talk about it that much. It was kind of sore about it when last time I saw him. But yeah, it was just like he was like, I just couldn't do it, and I had to come home. I was like, "Fuck."
that's
Like
the
it's
that's
nuts.
the yeah. The thing is like I'm not in love with her.
Mm,
I'm in love with the idea of her.
it's lovely.
You
That's
know,
like, yeah,
well,
yeah,
or like what she was when we were together, and I don't
yeah.
like. And
That's
then
heartbreaking, but yeah, it's
yeah,
true. Yeah,
and in your friend's sense, he went over there and he realized that his idea wasn't what she was anymore, at least.
exactly. Yeah,
You know?
people change, as you said.
Yeah. So yeah, that's tough, man. That's real tough to do that. Like,
Mm.
kudos to the dude for following his heart in that way. But I mean, it's a tough outcome for sure.
I can't imagine. Like, I mean, having a breakup in general it's fucking tragic. But I can't imagine doing all that and realizing she's not the one or they're not the one. Like, oh, the heartbreak would be insane.
Not to mention, you've spent the last 5 to 10 years obsessing over it, right?
Yeah. So you played all these
So
scenarios in your head.
you've
Mm.
thought it through a billion times in your head. You've maybe had partners and fucked them off because you thought, no, you're not the one for me. This person's the one for me.
Mm.
Like the amount of the stuff that would be going through my head if I did that, the amount of regret, the amount of
Yeah.
I would just be beside myself. I could imagine. I'll give you a quick story. This happened with a guy, a wrestler.
Mm.
I won't say names or anything, but he was dating a female wrestler, and she got signed to the WWE, and she went to America, and they were still together. He was still in Australia, she was in America, and they'd been together for a while, a couple of years, I think, prior to her getting a job. And he was like, I love this woman, I'm going to marry this woman, all this sort of stuff. So he planned a trip to go and see her in America. I can't recall whether it was a surprise or not. I can't recall off the top of my head. But he planned to go and see her, and this was a couple months after she'd gotten there. And he bought an engagement ring.
Oh shit!
Yeah, you can already tell where it's going. And
I feel like,
and he gets there and he meets up with her, and she breaks up with him.
wow, he didn't even have time to propose.
Wow. No.
I mean, if she knew, that's kind of fucked. Like she could have saved him.
That's the thing is I don't know if she knew about the engagement. I can't honestly say that about the engagement ring. But the thing is like he, things changed for her, but they didn't change for him.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah, and you
sorry, no, you go.
I was just going to say you don't know. Like you think that everything's fine, you think everything's the same, but in reality, everything's changed.
Yeah, and you never want to be the one left behind. Like you never want to be the one that's stagnant while the other person's flourishing. So that must be.
And I can say that since then she's been very successful, and I was only talking about them the other night. I feel like he's still holding on to that. I feel like and that really? I couldn't imagine what that's like. That would be an incredibly hard thing to get over.
Oof, yeah, jeez. Oh, well, good luck to him, I guess. And if she's
Yeah,
killing it,
best
good
of
for
luck.
her. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Imagine, your dream is to be a wrestler, and then
Mm,
your partner is far more successful than you ever will be at it, and
yeah.
she broke your heart. Like,
Yeah. Fuck, that's nuts. All right. So, as we've established, you were killed by having your headphones on and getting hit by a car. I
total
happen,
dickhead.
I happen to be in that traffic jam, and I see you go flying. So I quickly get out, and I have always discounted caskets in the back of my car. So knowing you probably shit the bed, I grab it and run to you, and I try to put you in there, but you're all broken, so it's hard to get you in the right angles. Finally, I kind of stuff you into this discount casket, and I there's enough room for me to put only one DVD because unfortunately the Afterlife has DVD players, no streaming. I have only enough room to put one DVD for you to take with you to the Afterlife. So when it's movie night and it's your night, you can show them this movie. Which movie are you taking with you to the Afterlife? Doesn't have to be from anything you said, but it
Oh
can be.
man, which movie? It's either the Street Fighter movie, the Jean-Claude Van Damme
Yeah,
one.
that's great.
It's either that or or Kickboxer, and they're both Van Damme movies,
Mm,
obviously. But like he had a great run in the 90s,
he
and
did.
like Street Fighter would be a piss take because obviously it's critically panned.
Oh yeah,
Uh, sort of takes the canon and story of Street Fighter and throws it out the window.
I don't give a fuck.
Um, yeah, but I mean, like as a kid, it's great, and I can
Oh
still
yeah,
watch it today. You can still enjoy it today. Not to mention Raul Julia's final stand,
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
and he's fantastic in it. Like for
Mm,
all the dog shit in that film, you can't fault Raul Julia.
no. Oh,
Actually, I
he's
would
cute.
say that Kickboxer can fuck off. It's Street Fighter.
I was gonna say Street Fighter just for Raul Julia alone.
Yeah, because there's that scene where he's in the room and it's like Ming Na Wen, another really
Is
really
she in
really good
that? She
Chinese
is
actress.
too.
Yeah, yeah, dude.
Ah,
So it's
oh,
it's
that's
star
nuts.
studded, dude. It is
Kylie
star
Minogue's in
studded,
it. What more do you want?
right? And there's a guy, the guy who plays Ryu, also goes on to play a few more characters and like stuff in the 90s as well.
Okay.
But yeah, dude, yeah, Ming Na Wen and Raul Julia, and like she's telling him the story about how like you came into my village, you killed my family, like you burned it down, and he's
Oh,
just
I
so
know what you're talking about.
nonchalant. You know
Yeah.
the one,
Yeah, yeah.
and he goes up to her and he says, "For you, that was the most important day in your life.
For me, it
For
was
me,
Tuesday.
it was Tuesday." Ah,
Fucking
dude,
amazing. I love that so much.
incredible,
It's a great
incredible.
line.
The delivery, just
Yeah.
everything about it. And I
Mm,
mean, the other part I love about it is that scene where like Van Damme's hyping up the soldiers.
mm.
The UN comes in, they're like, "No, we're going to agree, we're going to pay the ransom." He goes, "The UN says we have to go home. Well, I'm not going home. I'm going to get on that boat and I'm going to shove my foot so far up Bison's ass that the next Bison wannabe is going to feel it. Now, who wants to go home? And who wants to come with me?" Ah! He
I gotta
fucking
watch that
great,
movie
dude.
again.
Oh, it's one of those ones like obviously at the time, like I say, critically panned,
Mm,
whatever. But like you watch it and it's great. There's comedy moments, there's good fight scenes.
mm.
Yeah, again, if anything, you watch it for Raul Julia as well.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. All right. Well, that's it. You're that entrance into the afterlife after walking around with death for a while. But yeah, is before we go, is there anything you want to kind of plug or anything you want to talk about?
Well, I've just come back to Australia, so I mean, I'm about to do this show. My social media is at Kiwi Wrestler. That's on Twitter and Instagram. I have a Facebook fan page, Slade Mercer, if you look it up. Once the
Yeah.
stuff sort of drops, yeah, the hands.
You still do that?
Um,
Good.
I do, yeah. That's all I got. All I've got is my hand.
Hey, I like it.
All
I
I've,
put them up all the time.
all I've got is the hands and Arctic
Lacey and I
Monkeys.
walk
That's
past
it.
each other sometimes and do these just for no reason.
Love it, dude. That's
Yeah,
so
man.
good.
I
Um,
I told her like didn't talk, I told her about 6 months ago like about Too Sweet and the history behind it. So if she says like, "Oh, that's too sweet," I'm like, "Yeah." I'm making her a wrestling fan slowly, but an old school one, not the new stuff. Do you have any wrestling shows coming up, or anything after you get out of Queensland or finish the work you're doing?
I haven't got anything lined up yet. Like I've just sort of been waiting after COVID. Like a lot of companies closed, some new ones started, new promoters. So like I'm sort of waiting. Like I'm really thankful for the acting work.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to resuming wrestling again into the new year.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to follow me, you can follow me on my social medias. It's at Kiwi Wrestler. That's on Instagram and Twitter. On Facebook, it's Slade Mercer.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you what I'm doing right now, but in a few months' time, you'll know and you'll see.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
I believe it'll come around about March, April, because it sort of hits. It's like the spring schedule, I think.
Yeah, fair enough.
Of stuff that they have over there. But yeah, that's me. You can, if you want to come and watch a show, please do. You want to contact me, whatever. And obviously we can talk about movies like I've done the last time.
All right. Well, congratulations on your death. And thanks you for being on the podcast. Can't wait to see you again and give you a big old hug. It's been too long. And
thank you, bro. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for the wedding, dude. I've been holding my breath. I'm just, as soon as I can get there and be a part, I can't wait, dude. See both you and Lacey. Can't wait.
All right, man. Thank you. So, all right, take it easy. I appreciate this a lot. Thank you so much.
Much love, bro. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to episode 6 of the podcast. And once again, thank you, Matt, for being a part of it. And sorry for killing you off. So this is the last episode for 2021. I hope everyone has a great beginning to their new year. And we'll have episode 7 up as the new year rolls on. So thank you once again. And remember, werewolves, not swearwolves.